.7 WTCC. Good morning. Welcome to the Spoken Word. I'm your host, Bishop Talbert Swan II. And as usual, we'll be telling it like it is through cultural idioms and nuances that shape the order, ethos, and chaos of the African American experience. Words have their own vitality. They shape their own consciousness and create their own context for interpreting social and spiritual reality. The spoken word contains the power to reshape the landscape of society. It is 4 minutes past the hour of 9 a.m. And I want to thank those of you that are tuning in here on WTCC FM, 4,000 watts here throughout the Pioneer Valley. Good morning to each and every one of you. So glad to have you for another edition of the Spoken Word. Also want to thank those who are streaming with us. We're currently streaming to the Greater Springfield NAACP and to the Spring of Hope Church of God in Christ. Also to my personal YouTube and Periscope, so you can catch us on all of those platforms. As soon as my little suspension is over, they once again, if you haven't been following the saga, they unpublished my public page on Facebook, but and then suspended my personal page for 30 days. So once that 30 days is up, I'll be back on my personal page. For those of you who are used to seeing me stream under the name of Talbert Swan, I know a lot of my online audience is kind of discombobulated, the Facebookers trying to find me. So if y'all know those who would normally have been my top fans um, on my public page. Let them know where we're streaming to. That we're still here. We ain't gone nowhere. And of course, those who are listening, you've got no problem. You just turn the 90.7 FM. Um, um, 413 337 1867 is the number here. I can't really, talk about anything else other than kind of what happened since the last time we were together, and that was Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away, and the debate is on about um, replacing her on the Supreme Court. And Trump has selected someone, and the fight is on. And I don't want to talk specifically about the fight and the. I'm not going to deal with the hypocrisy of Republicans around the fact that they blocked Barack Obama's pick of Merrick Garland a full 7 months before he was out of office. And now they're saying they got plenty of time in 38 days to confirm Trump's pick. Them being hypocrites is nothing new. I mean, it's not surprising, or it shouldn't be surprising to any of us. I mean, that's the nature of the beast. White supremacists are hypocritical. I mean, that's what it is. But what I do want to deal with is what is at stake with a change in the Supreme Court. And I think we need to understand that fully. And we really need to fully understand what happens if this dude gets reelected and then has yet another Supreme Court pick potentially in another term. The things that are at stake with the Supreme Court. So tell a friend, tell somebody that the bishop is on the air. Do me a favor, rep your city, rep your town. Let me know where you're chiming in from. Would love to know what part of the planet you are on. So do that for me. 413-337-1867. Share it with a friend. Start a watch party. Let's get this thing crunk, okay? I'm going to play, a little bit of spoken word because it is called the spoken word. So I'll play a little bit of spoken word and then we'll come right back. Coming up a little later on, First Lady Swan will be back on with me. We're still talking about election and census. Your last day for the census has been extended to the end of October, looks like. So you got a little bit more time, but it's still important that you do all of that kind of stuff. So all kinds of stuff going on. Tell somebody Bishop is on the air. Don't y'all go nowhere. We'll be right back. All right. Back with you. 90.7 WTCC. Welcome to the spoken word. Listen, Pioneer Valley, we need y'all out there voting. Listen, when early voting starts, everybody listening to me on the radio, listen. When it starts on October 17th, y'all start going down and voting. Okay? Don't wait until November 3rd. You do know that this current squatter in the White House is already, okay, trying to set it up to say that unless he wins, that the election is fraudulent. That's his whole thing. Bottom line, either I win or it was rigged. Um, that's the premise. That's the conversation. That's what he's saying right now. Good morning, Tyrell. Good morning, Jules. Those who have jumped over to YouTube, tell our friends on Facebook who are looking for me on my unpublished page. They can go over to my YouTube page as well. That's the premise. That's what he's setting up right now. He's trying to say mail-in ballots are no good unless it's Florida, where he lives and where he thinks he's going to win. That it's okay to do mail-in ballots in Florida, but nowhere else in the country. And he's creating the narrative right now that unless I win, this thing is rigged. And he wants anarchy in the streets. And as a matter of fact, this is what he said. There won't be a transfer of power if he doesn't win. Okay? In other words, this is what this dude said, y'all, just this past week. If he don't win, he ain't leaving. He ain't leaving. Ain't gonna be no transfer of power. He's not leaving the White House. He's gonna be president forever, king forever. Oh my God. I'm telling you, this guy is an existential threat to humanity. Bottom line, he's crazy. He's crazy. He's absolutely nuts. There won't be a transfer of power if he doesn't win. He said that. He absolutely said that, and he means it. And his crazy people, listen, are going to act even crazier if this guy doesn't win the election. I mean, that's where we are in America in 2020. That's where we are. It's a dangerous season. Don't sleep on it, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends and enemies, whoever, don't sleep on it. It is a dangerous season in this nation. For real, for real. Seriously. All right. 413 337 1867 for those who are listening via radio and you want to call in and chime in on the conversation. What is at stake with the Supreme Court? And this is what's critical. This is why we need to be educating. We need to be having those necessary conversations. We need to be talking about exactly what's at stake because I don't think a lot of people really understand how serious this thing is. if Trump gets a conservative justice, let me tell you which he nominated and which he's going to get confirmed with this Senate. What's at stake? First, you got environmental regulations. All at stake. Everything that's done to protect the environment, to protect our breathing, our drinking, all that's gone bye-bye because Trump thinks regulations are a hindrance to making money. So for his rich friends in industry, remove the environmental regulations, make it easier for them to push their products and do their thing, and spill chemicals in the air and in the water and all of that. No big deal. So what if we die? He doesn't care. No big deal if we die. Environmental regulations, kiss them goodbye. Roe versus Wade, of course, we know that's gone. The Affordable Care Act, they've been dying to get rid of Obamacare. It's gone by. Affirmative action programs, bye-bye. One way or another, the U.S. Supreme Court is going to have a new conservative member, okay? Amy Coney Barrett is going to get confirmed, ladies and gentlemen. And the reality is we're going to have a rough road ahead of us. I mean, Trump and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell are going to make sure she gets there. She's going to vote with Uncle Clarence Thomas and Brett Kavanaugh and Samuel Alito and Neil Gorsuch, and most of the time Chief Justice John Roberts. And they're going to change the trajectory of this nation. That's why elections are important, because elections have dire consequences. Okay. They have consequences. And when we're sitting around in the barbershops and we're talking about, oh man, I ain't going out there and voting. I ain't nobody to vote for. Okay. You're setting up your future. You're setting up the future of your children, of your grandchildren. And I'm telling you right now, I want to speak specifically to my people. I want to speak specifically to Black people, because I get it. I understand that it was white folks who elected Trump. I get it. I understand that 58% of white women voted for Trump. I understand that 72% of white men voted for Trump. That the majority of white America is responsible for a white supremacist being in the White House. I get it. But you, my Black brothers and sisters, you could have made the difference in this past election in 2016. You could have made sure that white supremacist never got in office. If Black people in just 4 major cities had voted in higher numbers, we wouldn't be having a conversation about Donald Trump right now. I'm not saying we wouldn't be having a conversation, because we'd probably be having a conversation about Hillary Clinton and what she was doing. I'm not saying she would have been in there and been perfect, but she wouldn't have been Donald Trump. Okay. Can you prove it, Bishop? I can. I'm glad you asked. Trump won Florida by 13,000 votes. 13,000 measly votes in Miami. I ain't talking about Jacksonville. I ain't talking about Green Cove Springs. I ain't talking about, any Fort Myers, any other part of Florida. Miami alone, 379,000 Black people didn't vote. He only won the state by 113,000 votes. 279,000 Black people in Miami didn't vote. If half of those Black people in Miami that didn't vote had voted, he would not have won Florida. If the percentage of Black people was consistent who voted against him, he would not have won Florida. In Michigan, close, razor thin, less than half of a percentage point. Trump won Michigan by 11,000 votes. 11,000 votes. In Detroit alone, 277,000 black people didn't vote. 277,000 black people did not vote. I don't even have to say if half of them went to the polls because he only won by 11,000. If 15,000 of those 277,000 black people had went to the polls, Trump would not have won Michigan. Okay. In Pennsylvania, he won by 44,000 votes. 44,000 votes. In Philly by itself, 236,000 black people didn't vote. You heard what I said. Black people. If we got a smidgen of them to have gone to the polls to vote, he wouldn't have won Pennsylvania. And in Georgia, Trump won by 211,000 votes. In Chocolate City, in Atlanta by itself, over 500,000, 530,000 black people didn't bother to vote. Y'all talking about Atlanta being the black mecca, black professionals, black this, black. Why the heck didn't 500,000 of y'all go to the polls to vote? 530,000 black people in Atlanta. They was at the strip club, but not at the polls. They was at the massage parlor, but not at the polls. Everywhere else, but not at the polls. Had half of them went to vote, he never would have won Georgia. Had he not won Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Florida, he wouldn't be president today. Black people in 4 major cities, had they gone out and voted, we wouldn't be talking about Donald Trump. That's real. That's real, my people. 413-337-1867. Now, let me tell you why that's so insidious. We've got environmental regulations on the line with the Supreme Court, above all involving climate change. They're going to be struck down. By a 5-4 vote already, the court has held that the Environmental Protection Agency has the authority to regulate greenhouse gases. But with a new member, the court will overrule that precedent. All right? Or restrict the agency's authority. When it comes to Roe v. Wade, for those of you who are concerned about that issue, that's hanging by a thread. It's going to go away. I'm trying to tell you, it's going to go away. It's going to go away. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I have more of a question. How do you deal with black folks that love Trump? And why I'm asking is my daughter is so in love. She has alienated herself from her brother and sister, and I'm trying so hard. Every time I have a conversation, she brings that idiot up. I don't know how to deal with it. Maybe somebody could help me, because we're having a hard time with my daughter.
Of course, young people are impressionable, and there's a whole movement out there that is trying to brainwash not only our young people, but black people in general about Trump. And And there's some key talking points they always bring up. They always bring up HBCUs, opportunity zones, low unemployment, and prison reform. None of which he's done anything about, but I mean, it's brilliant the way they've crafted these talking points to say. And then the major line is he's done more for black people than any president since Abraham Lincoln. And
that's what my daughter says, and I'm like, oh my God, I want to scream.
right,
I
right,
mean,
right,
I
right.
want to scream at her, but
And you got organizations like TPUSA and other organizations that literally go out on college campuses and other places that young people are, and they recruits them.
she's 33. She's 33. She's not a freaking 18-year-old. And she's dating this guy, Joe Collins. He's going against Maxine Waters. My daughter lives in LA.
Okay.
And Joe Collins, a black young man, he's going against Maxine Waters. And he is a Trump just endorsed him. Yesterday she sent me, said, Trump just endorsed Joe. And I'm like, Jesus, please leave me alone.
Oh, of course. Well, you know, Trump would endorse Mickey Mouse if Mickey ran against Maxine Waters. That says nothing about him. That just says something about how insidious Trump is and how vindictive he is because he hates Maxine Waters.
And to have a black person that's going against Maxine, and I'm like, oh my God, my daughter is out of control. And every opportunity, because I was driving, what was it, Friday? I was driving on Parker and Wilbraham Road, and there was a guy there. I can't even remember what the sign said. It was something about our police officers are heroes or something. And I made a remark. I said, this idiot's out here, like, being black is not a choice. Being a police officer is a choice. And you took an oath to protect and serve. And you ain't protecting and serving. That's why we have an issue. And I was on the phone with my daughter, and I said, this idiot out here, it's not. And she was like, oh, I got to sign the black folks support Trump. And I'm going to stand, I forgot, Beverly Drive and this. And I'm like, so, yeah, the weather here is good. Like, I don't know. Every time she just goes on about this guy is bigger than God. And I'm like, oh, Jesus, please give me the strength.
It's a pray for your daughter, because that's the most I can say, because this is a cult movement. You know, to me, Trump is no more than a Jim Jones. I mean, 200,000 people dead of coronavirus, and people are talking about it's not Trump's fault. And they say
freaking Hitler to me.
Yeah. I mean, really, he really is. He's a demagogue of that magnitude. And all I can do is say, pray for people, especially our people who are so inundated and enamored with this. I just don't understand how black people get enamored with white supremacy. I don't get it.
I don't get it. My daughter's like, and then she sends me all these. I never open them. Like, you find out that, people the news been brainwashing people. Find out the truth. And she sends me all these links, and I never open them. And I'm like, Kiana, that's your opinion. Everybody's entitled to this. But I have 3 children, and my son and my daughter have blocked her. They don't want nothing because she keeps on, and they're so aggressive, and they're hate. It's like we're the ignorant ones.
Yeah,
Basically, she's saying we're naive and ignorant, and I can't deal with her. And I'm trying as a mother not to block her.
Yeah.
But I just needed some guidance. Like, how do we deal with the black folks that swear he's better?
I think we just remain honest with them, and we remain vigilant.
Mom, you don't know. You need to research this. Mom, she gets there so what's the word I'm looking for? They're aggressive with their beliefs.
Yeah, they're aggressive, they're persistent, they're belligerent. Yes. And my biggest problem with them is they really don't want to debate. They want to just spout their talking points and beat you over the head with them. And then if you don't agree, or if you get a counterpoint, your counterpoint is fake news. It's fake news. And so I can't have a debate with them, because I can't have a debate with anyone who dismisses anything I say as fake just because they don't have the intellectual acumen to actually debate the issue and deal with it.
But I did not realize there was that many black folks that are really thinking he's better than sliced bread. But I just wanted to let you know that as a mother, it pains me and it breaks my heart that she's like that, but she has alienated her brother and sister. And if she was in her deathbed, who's going to be there holding her hand? It's her family, not this. I can't even say the word.
Yeah, I feel you. I hear the pain. I hear the pain. I hear the pain in your voice. I feel it. I really do.
But I feel so bad that she's with this Joe Collins, and oh my God, he is aftermath waters like would not believe. And now that he got the endorsement from Trump, it's just it's painful.
Yeah.
But I just
my thoughts are with you. We're praying with you, Mother. Really, for everyone who's going through this with their loved ones. It's a real difficult time in a polarized nation, and you don't want to be alienated from your family. But these issues are just that important. These are life and death issues, and we hate to see.
Exactly.
We hate to see it.
And she just doesn't get it. They're the right ones. We're the idiots, and it becomes such you can't have a conversation because they're so, enforced. They're crazy. How do people get brainwashed? But apparently, there's a lot of black folks that think different than I do, and I just wanted to, that's the reason why I called. How do we as family members keep our composure, but not be bombarded with such ignorant, foolish.
Wow.
And a lot of it breaks families up. I mean, this has broken up my kids. They don't want nothing to do with
Absolutely.
her. And that breaks my heart.
Yes.
That breaks my heart. That you're entitled to believe whatever, vote for whoever. But when you are alienating your own family, that they don't want, it's a serious family crisis.
Right.
It's because, so I thank you for your time. I don't want to take all your time, but I just want other people that are out there dealing with similar issues like me. I'm so sorry because it hurts like hell.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you for your call. We appreciate you. Okay. Praying for your family. Okay. Take care.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
413-337-1867. Some of you were trying to get in. I know you felt the pain of that mother. And, someone would say, well, why would a family break up over politics? Listen, when we're talking about life and death issues, when it comes to black people, it's with white folks, it's politics. With black folks, it's life or death. Literally, life or death issues are on the line for us. Good morning, caller. Good morning, caller.
Yes. I have a problem with here in Springfield. Now, we have Congressman Richard Neal, and a smart, educated person should go to Neal. Neal is in Congress. He can stop all this mess. Congress.
Oh, wait. He can stop all of what?
Here's what I'm saying. Congressman Neal is in Washington, D.C. Congressman Neal is in Congress. Congress.
I need you to get to a point. What does Congressman Neal have to do with this conversation?
Okay, but here's what I'm saying. Congress is the president's mother and father. It's 5 branches of the government. And each
Okay, wait. Thank you for your call. There's not 5 branches of government. Oh, God, help me, Jesus. I don't know what Congressman Neal has to do with this conversation about the Supreme Court or Trump. He's not the daddy, and there's not 5 branches of government, but bless your heart and thank you for your call. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Bishop.
How you doing?
Sending salutations from Santa Barbara, California. I just wanted to say, the current event that's going on now has its place in history. As we've seen during the Reconstruction era, during the mid-century civil rights movement, even now. The rollbacks on civil liberties are not an anomaly.
Absolutely.
It's part of a pattern, an historic pattern where we have reactionary whites
Yes.
Who are not fed up with the system, but fed up with our ability to maneuver in the system and to empower ourselves with education, with the money, and apply those skills to building ourselves up and passing that down to our children and our grandchildren. That's the key.
Now that's a great articulation of it. I usually just put it like this: every time there's black progress, there's white backlash.
Every time.
Yeah, absolutely. Go right ahead.
And also, we've made great strides in education to the point where we have other folks of color, copying off of our success, using our successes for their own benefits. For instance, we now have Hispanic serving institutions, okay, that were modeled after historically black colleges and universities. And they model their school system and their financial ability to attract, recruit, and retain students after HBCUs.
Mm.
And one of the key instances is here in Santa Barbara, most of the people, you do have a large middle class. And most of the middle class is of Hispanic folks. There are some black middle class folks still left. There's a tension going on right now between the Hispanics and the blacks, particularly at the education level, at the access level of jobs. And what we're doing right now is we're having to sit down at the table and come to terms with, because there's a strong Black Lives Matter movement here. Most of the university and college students are active in the community. And what's happened is now the Hispanics are feeling left out because they're saying, well, we're part of the civil rights movements. Why can't we be part of Black Lives movements? And there's been some uncomfortable dialogue when I just say up front, when you are assimilating into the majority culture because of the fact of language and because of the idea of upward mobility, and you have pulled yourself away from blacks, that's where a lot of the antagonism has come from, the divide and conquer. They have yet to see that, but I've educated folks on that. And then when you're looking at colorism and other aspects of isms,
right,
it's now dawning on the folks. So there it is.
Right. Well, that was an excellent synopsis of what's going on, and really that connects with the time that we're in right now. What do you think? What do you foresee quickly? The foreseeable future is for Black people, especially with this pending change in the court and this what I believe is going to be a real rollback of gains that have been made over the last 50, 60, 70 years.
Well, you're going to see outward migration of Black talent, intellectual capital, entrepreneurial capital, skilled labor, semi-skilled labor. My generation, I'm Generation X, okay? We're not putting up with it. We're teaching our kids not to put up with it. I have a daughter who's a registered nurse, and she's weighing in on her options very, very carefully. She doesn't like what she sees either. She's scared. I would see it this way. I see pressure coming from the top and from the bottom. And we're not going to endure this. I sincerely believe there's going to be a lot of Black folks leaving the country. And it's sad to say that because my generation, we've enjoyed a lot of privileges.
Wow.
So, and we have mobility. Generation X and Generation Z.
Yeah.
Have a lot of mobility.
I was on being interviewed yesterday, as a matter of fact, and that was the conversation. Someone had said that he's got his passport on ready. He's made sure everyone in his family has a passport. He's got connections to 2 countries, and when the time comes, they're prepared to be out. and that black people really ought to start thinking about an exodus plan if America,
Right.
goes down the wrong pathway. And that's right. 5 years ago, even, I would have thought that was far-fetched kind of talk. I don't think that now.
No.
I think that's
No.
that. I think that's real.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Because I had done so myself. This is it for me. This is the last year I will call myself an American citizen. I've let my citizenship lapse. I've been a dual Canadian American citizen for all my life, and I do have relatives who are part of the African diaspora. I am going back to the old country, even though some of my relatives are in Canada. I'm going back to the old country because I'm not going to sit here and allow these rogues and uncivilized people think that I am less than human.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I want to thank you for your call. It's been enlightening. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Bishop, and have a wonderful day.
You too. Take care. 413-337-1867. I'm waiting on the First Lady. Let's see where she is. I mean, I know where she is. She's upstairs, but she's supposed to be coming on to the program this morning, and she should have been here about 5 minutes ago. But in any case, there's like I said, there's a lot at stake. The Affordable Care Act, not parts of it, is going to be struck down in its entirety. Y'all just get ready for it in its entirety. I mean, they're just going to knock 30 million people off the rolls and take their health care from them. And they don't care. They don't care one way or another. The legality of the ACA is currently pending before the Supreme Court. And the outcome of this case is going to be made with Trump's new appointee. Okay. And so the ACA is going to be invalidated. Affirmative action programs are going to be forbidden. All of that. That includes those that try to ensure any degree of racial diversity at colleges and university. The modern regulatory state is going to be in jeopardy. A more conservative court is likely going to revive the non-delegation doctrine that basically forbids Congress from granting discretion to regulators like the EPA or the Department of Transportation. They might strike down important provisions of OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Act, the Clean Air Act, the Federal Reserve Board, the Federal Communications Commission, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. I mean, it goes on and on and on. They're going to mess with commercial advertising, freedoms of speech. And listen, don't even think about, or you need to think about, but civil rights laws and voting rights laws, I mean, they are going to be interpreted restrictively. They're going to be struck down. In terms of civil rights, I'm telling you, brothers and sisters, we're going back to a time that we don't want to be in this nation. All right, let me get First Lady on here. I've pontificated doom and gloom enough for you all. 413-337-1867. Let's see. Were you cooking breakfast? Is that why you late? Hello? I can't hear you. Hello. All right. I don't know if y'all can hear the first lady. I can't hear her. Mute mic. Unmute. Can you hear me, lady? You can hear me? Why I can't hear you? What device are you on? Hold on. Let me see if I can improvise here.
Hello.
What device are you on?
I'm on my phone.
Okay.
Should I try to sign in through the computer?
Yeah, because I can't hear you.
Okay.
All right.
I'm gonna hang up. You keep talking.
All right.
And I'll see if I can sign in through the computer.
Okay.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. She's gonna sign in through her computer. I don't know if y'all could hear her or not. I couldn't hear nothing. I could see her pretty face, but I couldn't hear nothing. So, hey, if y'all heard her, let me know you heard her. 413-337-1867. 10 minutes left in the program here on WTCC. Let me make a couple of announcements. The NAACP, Greater Springfield NAACP general membership meeting is tomorrow at 6 p.m. So if you're a member, we welcome you in to membership. Thank you, Miss Sophie, letting me know you couldn't hear as well. I'm glad I wasn't going crazy. Is tomorrow at 6 p.m. So for those members of the branch, you should have received a letter and an email by now, and we'll put up the Zoom information on our Facebook page, so you have that information for our general membership meeting tomorrow. Also, listen, we've got a digital town hall meeting that is happening on Thursday, a digital town hall on police reform, okay, on Thursday at 7 p.m., co-sponsored by the Greater Springfield NAACP and the Pioneer Valley Project. The mayor has decided that he wasn't coming to ours again. He's having his own, and I don't know how many of you all were party to that sham that he had on Saturday. I can hear you now, babe. Let's take this call and then we'll talk. Good morning,
Right.
caller. Caller, you're on the air.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. You hear me now?
We can hear you.
Okay, all right. I was just kind of weighing in. I know it might be a little bit off subject that you're talking about, but I was just listening, through the week here, and we're talking about that Supreme Court justice. I want to name three things: the pandemic and the insurance that's going to be affected by these changes. And I just want to lay it out there to ask that so-called Trump base, what's the challenge to me of having people vote for people that they know that's trying to eliminate basically everything that we've gained over the years? And I'm not just talking about one nationality, one block of people. I'm talking about all of the people in this country right now that stands to lose insurance, that stands to lose everything other than major control.
Well, I think what you have to
have a dictatorship type regime in this country. So I just want to, have you lay out and have maybe talk about that a little bit to our white counterparts. Is why are you Trump's base when they have to, if they don't want to hit me first, they got to hit them first.
Yeah.
So, I just want to kind of leave it like that. And somehow we'll have discussion on that at some point in time. And I thank you very much for your time.
All right. Thank you for your call. And we'll deal with that a little bit because it's nuanced. I don't understand it for black folk. I do understand it for white folks, even poor white folks, even white folks who his policies hurt. They are more in tune to and attached to their whiteness than their situation. And so that's what really resonates with them. And for those of you that are calling in, listen, I'm going to get to your calls again on the other side of the break. I've got to pull First Lady in to talk really quickly to our radio audience because we've got to be off the radio in 6 minutes. 6 minutes, Dougie Fresh, you're on. And then we'll continue with the streaming audience. But some information we need to get out to the radio audience. So we've got about 4 minutes, babe, before I got to start the sign-off process on WTCC. So you got the floor to talk about what you all have been working on.
Oh, well, we've been working on quite a bit. We are going to be launching what we consider or what we're calling the theme in October, Good Trouble Month. Good Trouble Month. And we're also going to be campaigning around maintaining, flipping, and turning the country toward justice. So maintaining the House of Representatives, flipping the Senate, and hopefully turning this country back into a direction that is fair, that is just to everybody. That is also incorporating a Black Lives Matter agenda into its national politics and commentary. We will be doing, and everybody, just kind of sit back, but we will be doing a vote and tote. So that includes going to the polls. And if you are SVP, we will be giving you a free soul food dinner. We also are planning to do parking lot.
What's on the menu?
I thought you might be interested, Bishop. But I don't know everything that's on the menu yet, but I can tell you that one of the sisters in WIN has already decided that jerk chicken will be on the menu. Of course, Lady Swan's fried chicken will be on the menu. I heard barbecue chicken as well. We can do chicken. We can slay chicken a multiple ways, But, definitely that, it's going to be soul food delicatessens. So, collard greens, probably cabbage, some snap peas, definitely some cornbread. So we're still working on the menu, but nevertheless, we plan on launching it the first Sunday of early voting, which is October 18th. And we plan on doing the same thing the following Sunday, which is October 25th. So the way it's going to work is we're trying to push everybody to the polls. I believe that was your first sentiment today when you started your program. We don't want people to wait till November 3rd, Bishop. We want people to vote early. So we want you to use that time during the early voting process, which is about 2.5 weeks, I think. And it starts October 17th, which is a Saturday. And it's going to go until October 30th. So we don't even want people to trust necessarily the mail-in ballots. If you don't have any other choice but to use a mail-in ballot, then use a mail-in ballot. But if you can make arrangements to have that ballot dropped off, we trust that way better than using the mail or the postal service and also waiting until November 3rd. Some of the things that you didn't get a chance to talk about as to why is because we're not trusting the systems right now, because we do know that there's been a lot of money and resources poured into suppressing our vote. And that was something that I was trying to say too when you was giving the stats about, some of these populations and states and big cities that did not come out and vote. It is a possibility too that the voter turnout was higher in those cities, but they might have been thrown out, or they may have went to the polls on election day and was discouraged because they had to wait in line for like 6 and 7 hours, and they had to get back to work. And
Hold
then
that
you
thought.
also got,
Hold that thought right there, babe.
Okay.
We got to sign off of WTCC. I want to thank all of our WTCC listening audience. You always are here with us, and we appreciate you so very, very much. For my streaming audience, hold tight. We're coming back with Lady Swan right up after this sign off. Remember, Digital Town Hall takes place this Thursday, 7 p.m. Everyone in the Pioneer Valley needs to be there. Check our Facebook page out for the details. Until the next time I talk to you and you talk to me, always remember, God loves you, and so do I. All right, we're back. That beat got me going this morning. All right, the extended edition. Back in the house. Let me see. Let me take it down a little bitty notch. There we go. All right, go ahead. Continue where you left off.
I don't know where I was.
You don't know where you was?
I don't.
You wasn't cooking no grits. I'm hungry.
I was talking about voter suppression.
And wait. Did y'all see how she just ignored my whole conversation about the grits? She's gonna start out talking about jerk chicken and that chicken and this chicken and all that kind of stuff. And I'm down here famished in the man cave with just a bottle of water. Anyway, go ahead.
See, you making me lose my train of thought again.
Go ahead. I'm just going.
I'm trying to have a discussion with you. I'm trying to have a real discussion with you, Bishop.
It is a real discussion.
Okay. So we are talking about some food just a little bit.
I need sustenance.
This food for our souls, though. But
my body needs food too.
So anyway, we are encouraging. We want our people to go to the polls before November 3rd. We want you to make arrangements to get your ballot to the drop-off box before November 3rd. We don't want nobody waiting until November 3rd. We don't want nobody waiting until November 3rd. The only thing we really want to have to do for November 3rd, we want to apply for those poll workers positions and jobs because they need staff. They need poll workers in the city of Springfield. So we want to apply for those poll worker jobs. We want to fill up those spaces so that we can also, I'm talking about our people, make sure that that they're properly staffed, and that everything that is needed in order to have a fair and just election is also happening at these different sites, throughout the city. So that's what we want to do for November 3rd, but we want to have long time before November 3rd already voted. Okay. So I'm sorry, some messages are coming up and it distracted me for a second. So we are encouraging everybody to start voting October 17th. Put it in your calendar, make it convenient, schedule it around your work schedules and this and the other. I can't say this. I can speak for City Hall on this. City Hall has been great about processing early voters. I went down the first day during the primaries. It was an easy process. They had greeters. They took our temperature. They made sure we had our mask on and things like that or whatever. It took me like all of 5 minutes. But I'm very sociable, Bishop. So I was down there talking to some of the
for about 35 minutes. Easily. Hold it. Let's take this call. I know exactly where that went. Good morning, caller. Caller, you're on the air.
How you doing? Can you hear me, Bishop?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello?
Is this my friend in Texas?
Man, I want to thank you. No, this your friend from Mississippi.
Mississippi. Okay. How you doing?
I can't hear him.
I'm doing good, man. I want to personally thank you and your wife for the civic education that you always give.
Oh.
I wish you had a national syndicated show. Because the education that you give, man, with things going in the community, man, is priceless. And I hate to say it, but our people, I was raised in the Church of God in Christ. Man, our people are being deceived by this pro-birth movement so bad, man. Mm-hmm. I know two bishops, all they want to talk about is Planned Parenthood.
Oh my God!
If we had more people, brother, in the Kojic Church that would talk about overall issues like you do, we could go some places, especially in our communities.
Yeah. We've got to be more nuanced and balanced in our conversation,
right.
And we've got to understand that yes, abortion affects Black people. Yes, there are certain things that affect us, but it's not the only thing. And when we look at the overall concerns of our community, we've got to look at a broader and a much bigger picture than one or two issues that we've really taken a hold on in terms of our doctrinal positions, because we're against abortion. We don't want to see children aborted. We also don't want to see people shot down on the street like dogs and no one be held accountable for them. We also don't want to see our children be sent to foreign countries to fight wars that have nothing to do with bettering our people. There's a more balanced perspective that we have to take. And when we talk about voting, we can't select candidates strictly based on where they stand on two issues. We can't do that.
Yeah, well, no, you can't. This right, and I want to get some of them books. What I see that you done wrote, man. Are they still for sale?
Yes, sir. You can go to Amazon and you can check my catalog. The one I suggest is I wrote a book some years ago called "No More Cursing." It talks about the roots of religious racism. So a lot of this, I really need to update that book, but a lot of it is still very relevant to today. But just go to Amazon or anywhere where books are sold and you can pick it up.
Yeah, because religion now is being weaponized to make fools out of Black folks.
Always.
And I mean, people just gonna talk about abortion and homosexuality, and I hate that I'm raised Pentecostal, like I said, and a lot of Pentecostals jump on it.
Yeah,
jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna listen to some other callers, man. But I'm always blessed by hearing you and your wife doing y'all thing. Y'all doing a great job.
All right, thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
Babe, I got a name for our show.
What show? We got a show?
The show we gonna do together. The show we gonna do together. Okay, I can find me somebody else. You want me to find me another minion?
You do know at least right now I got the controls.
I got the name for our show though. See how people are talking about us. See how people are talking about us. But I got the name. You want to know the name?
What is it?
I just heard from the Lord. He just deposited this name into my spirit. I think the name of our show should be Beauty and the Beast.
All right, y'all. Let's move on. Babe, I think you're much finer than that. You should never refer to yourself as a beast. I thought you had higher self-esteem
we know
than
who
that.
The beast is.
I thought you had higher self-esteem than that.
We know who the beast is. The audience know who the beast is. But no, let's get back on track, babe. We always having fun like this. And I hope the audience appreciates it, but nevertheless, it is so important. It is so important to disenfranchised communities, particularly Black and Brown communities, to early vote. What I don't know every state's process. I have heard, which is some good news. I have heard that some states, you can they're going to start the maybe early voting has already started, I believe, or whatever, and it's going to go.
There are people in some places that are voting already, yeah.
Right, that are voting already, which is nice. I wish we had more time, but we might not necessarily need it because we're a small city, but we are the third largest city in Massachusetts, and we are a Democratic state. And but nevertheless, we only have like 102,000 registered voters here, which is a good number for us, considering that we only have like 156,000 people that live here. But so that's a good number. But if we can get 90% of those voters to vote early, that will cut down on any confusion, mix up, a large fight, on election day. So we are really encouraging everybody. And listen, like my husband says all the time, tell your cousin and them, tell your mama, your daddy, your uncle, your auntie, your kids, tell them to get to the polls early, vote early, get those ballots in early, get them delivered down to City Hall or wherever the ballot boxes are located in your municipalities or cities and localities, or whatever the case may be. But whatever you do, do not wait till November 3rd unless that's the only choice that you have. If it is the only choice that you have, try to start making arrangements now to get it delivered down to City Hall or delivered to a ballot box, a secure ballot box, okay? Because voter suppression is real, just like census suppression. And by the way, Bishop, we do need to update your audience on the census. As you know, when women in the NAACP, we've been pushing not only for people to be registered and prepared to vote. And by the way, if you're not already registered, please, contact us, contact the NAACP, contact, Bishop Show, let us know, and we will make sure that you get voter registration cards or whatever, especially you pastors and you organizations, wherever you still kind of congregate, if you will, with your people, and they want to vote, but they haven't registered yet, which that's a small number of people here in Springfield. We don't have a registration problem. We have an inspiration problem. We need for people who are registered to get to the polls and to go and vote. But let me just update the audience real quickly, Bishop, before you take another call on the census. On the census, so we still are pushing urgency. We still are pushing for people to go to 2020census.gov, 2020census.gov, and fill out your census if you haven't done so already. You know, making sure that we try to help the Census Bureau get an accurate count. However, supposedly, but I just don't trust anything right now. But supposedly, the original extension date of October 31st has been reinstated because a federal judge barred the Trump administration from cutting it off for 30 days or 31 days, I believe it was. So it's been reinstated, but I don't even want anybody to have that date in mind. I need for you to think that it's still urgent. Definitely the resources, like in other words, the census workers are being deployed back home. That they've been laid off, they've been let go and terminated, and so on and so forth. So the resources to collect the accurate count will no longer be in our cities, especially after this week, I believe it is. I think the last day is probably Wednesday, September 30th. But nevertheless, you still can go. Right now, you still will be able to go online and file your census. So we need to be ready to vote. We need to file our census, account everybody. Don't be afraid, because it's supposed to be illegal, against the law, to share that information and for somebody to come back, looking for you. So I mean, even if you're consider yourself to be a illegal person living here in the city or whatever, you still can be counted. And so that's really important that you are counted. Okay. So yeah. So I think that's kind of it as far as like the update on the census, Bishop.
Okay. So census update, voting, of course, we're going to keep stressing that all the way up until November 3rd, but really stressing the early voting part, and really, been talking a lot about what's at stake, in this election. Altogether, the whole mentality, attitudes, the things that could change, legislation, regulations, all of that is critical for us to think about as we're going to vote. At the end of the day, our two wedge issues more important than the overall picture of death and destruction that is coming with this administration. And that's just and see, and I get it, they'll throw out the numbers of the number of babies aborted per year. Listen, it's incalculable the number of people that will die because of inadequate health care, the number of folk who can't get prescriptions, the infant mortality rate, people that will die from diseases that they don't have to have because of health disparities, people that die at the hands of police and because of violence, poverty alone takes hundreds of thousands of people out per year. And see, because it's not, you can't see that. Many people don't correlate those deaths to poverty to see the overall picture. So when you start talking about death and destruction, you can't even calculate the death and destruction that is a result of bad public policy. It's real in our city, in our state, and in the entire nation. Listen, I want to push Thursday, the importance of Thursday.
Right. Thursday.
The digital town hall, it'll stream from the NAACP and the Pioneer Valley Project's pages. We're doing it in collaboration. It's the second one we've done. We did one together back in June. And I want to thank Tara Parrish and Reverend David Lewis, the chair of the board, and the entire PVP family for collaborating with us again on bringing important information to the community. Now, there was a listening session that the mayor did on Saturday. We did across the Commonwealth yesterday a virtual press conference with community leaders, elected officials, NAACP, ACLU, various organizations across the Commonwealth on yesterday, underscoring, our desire for police reform and the fact that this police reform bill that is still before the legislature should have been passed back in the summer. And here we are still waiting for it. And here's what you need to know to the listening audience. The police are so against modifying, getting rid of, revising qualified immunity that they are doing all within their power to hold this bill up. And here's the problem. They say for every call they get from constituents like us who say we want this police reform bill, they get 30 calls from law enforcement community. So they have organized to make sure their people are calling to tell legislators not to pass this bill and don't touch qualified immunity. Police reform is critical. It's critical. I talked about yesterday specifically from a Western Mass perspective and from a Springfield perspective. Matter of fact, I was on an interview at 8 this morning with Baxton O'Brien on WHYN, who wanted to know why I was calling for the removal of Police Commissioner Cheryl Clapprood. And they said, she's only been in office for 18 months. You can't blame her, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, she's been in leadership for years. She's been in the department for 40 years and leadership for years. And just the attitude and mentality that she's had in the 18 months that she's been in office speaks volumes. How can you reform a department who has a problem with police brutality, corruption, and abuse when you have denied, since you've been the commissioner? I'm not even talking about what happened before she was commissioner. Since she's been the commissioner, she's denied that the police brutality, that the abuse and corruption even exists. I say this over and over again, and I'm gonna eventually just probably publish it 5 days before the Department of Justice report came out. She communicated with me in writing that I don't think we have a problem with police brutality in the Springfield Police Department. That's what she said to me. That's not hearsay. That's what she said to me. 5 days later, after the DOJ report comes out, she stands beside the mayor and says, we're already working on the DOJ recommendations around mitigating the problem of police brutality and corruption in Springfield. Now, how in the world can you already be working on mitigating police brutality and corruption when 5 days before that you said it didn't exist? I mean, come on. We're not stupid. And so you can't have a person who has been at the forefront of perpetuating the system of corruption, dysfunction, and brutality to be the one who's going to reform it. And so if the city is serious about mitigating this issue, you can't do it with that person at the lead. And of course, I didn't expect for Mayor Sarno to do anything other than he did. Double down and basically say, this man ain't gonna tell me what to do. She ain't going nowhere. He doubled down and basically defended his hand-picked successor to John Barbieri, who was a much better police commissioner than the one that we currently have. And so I want you to understand that although it was me who articulated the need for the city to get rid of the commissioner, it was a stance that was taken by the entire NAACP. I just happen to be the spokesperson for the branch. That is the official position of the NAACP, that she be removed from leadership if the city is going to be serious about instituting any reforms to mitigate this problem. So you all need to be there. Listen, on Thursday, we're not going to hold you in the Zoom chat room for 25 minutes until it's your turn to talk, and then bring you onto the platform, let you talk for 2 minutes, and then kick you out the platform without answering your question, which is what they did on Saturday. That was a farce. That's not a listening session. A listening session is not, okay, you got 2 minutes, say your piece, get out of here. Now, listen, here's what I hold. I cannot be the abuser. I can't be the one who abuses you, violates your rights, and then dictates how you can talk to me about me violating your rights. And that's basically what Mayor Sarno is doing. We're the ones guilty of abusing and brutalizing the Black community, Black and brown people in this city. But we're going to dictate the parameters by which y'all can come and talk to us about it. We're going to tell you the date and time, how long you can talk, what you can say, and all of that. That is not dialogue. That is not listening.
I got a question, Bishop, about that. I'm glad that you're bringing it up and you're flushing it out a little bit better. First of all, let me say this. I was at a loss because I watched it. I watched the whole thing, and I was intrigued and I was interested as to how this was going to play out. But I was a little thrown off a little bit that if you were invited, I didn't know you had been invited. But I was a little thrown off because I was like, okay, it was the NAACP that led the charge to bring the DOJ here. So I heard them making references, to the DOJ. I heard the police commissioner talking about, that all of the recommendations made by the DOJ have been implemented, or whatever. And I just was like completely weirded out, to be quite honest, to hear some of that language and talk. So I said all of that to say this. Has the mayor and representatives, from the police department been invited to this forum? Are they going to be on the panel as well? And I just want to say this. I just would love for one question to be answered, and I don't know if I'm going to have them as an audience, the mayor and the police representatives, or whatever. But I would love for them to tell the community how it feels to be investigated by the DOJ, and for the DOJ to come back and say that they are one of the worst police departments in the country. I just want that question answered, and then I might be a little good as far as like moving forward.
Well, first, to answer your question, of course, they were invited, as they were to our June 4th session. And we received an email from the mayor's office that basically said, no, thank you, we're doing our own thing. So we're not going to be involved in yours. Now, when I talk about the distinct difference between Clapperud and Barbieri, and I'm not saying Barbieri was perfect in any way, shape, or form, but Barbieri was invested in the C3 policing. He was invested in some changes and implementing some things that would foster a better relationship between the police and the community that had never been done before. And I believe he was used as the fall guy when those guys got indicted after the district attorney failed to charge any of them, after the mayor forced Barbieri not to fire Greg Bigda and some other things. He was on the cutting edge compared to this particular person. And when we had invited the mayor to come to a public forum pre-corona at our church, and the mayor refused to come to that forum, I asked Barbieri to come, and he came anyway, even without the mayor. And see, Clapperoo does not have that level of integrity to say, you know what, the mayor doesn't want to come, but I really need to be accountable to the community that we police, so I'm going to participate anyway. So neither one of them are going to participate. No one from the mayor's administration is going to participate in this conversation with the community because they can't control it. See, when they get in their little room and they get to introduce the complaint review board, and they get to have, their various hand-picked people there that they can have talk, and they can have you sitting in the Zoom waiting room until they feel like letting you talk for 2 minutes and kick you out when they're done. They control the environment. They control the narrative. Coming to the community in a setting that we set up, they cannot control the narrative. Therefore, they don't want to be a part of it. That's the problem that we have with them, just like the problem we have with the police trying to control Black and brown people, beating them upside the head and all that kind of stuff is why we're here in the first place. And so you're not serious about engaging the community when you're saying to us, we will only engage with you on our terms. And so you're not going to have an opportunity to ask them that question.
Okay, well, I put it out there in the atmosphere. I mean, that is the question that I have on my mind as a community member or as a resident of this city. It's like, you're 500 plus officers. Like I said, we're a small city. And for the DOJ to come in and say that you are one of the worst.
Worst
police departments in the country.
In these yet to be United States.
And then you want to have a controlled discussion about that? Like what we saw on Saturday. Can you share with the audience too about, I think her name was Margaret, that Becky that was online?
Karen.
No. Karen. Oh, it's Karen, right? It's Karen.
Well, we call them Karens. I think her name was Deborah.
Okay,
Deborah DiLorenzo, who was online. She was coming after me. This is Bishop Swan, being negative and divisive. And I don't know why white folks think if Black people talk about white supremacy, racism, and anti-Black bigotry, we're the ones being divisive. Right. How the hell is talking about condemning white supremacy divisive, but white supremacy not be divisive? I don't understand. It's like if you crack me upside the head and I'm sitting there bleeding, talking about what you did, I'm being divisive by talking about what you did. You're not being divisive by what you did. I don't understand the psyche of the Hellmans, Hellions, the Miracle Whip Posse, the Mayonnaise Marauders. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And so her notion was the NAACP was being divisive by talking about the corruption in the city. So then she goes off on ad hominem personal attacks about, oh, that's why your Twitter page got banned. Now, first of all, people, context is everything, people. Listen, my Twitter page got banned for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And wait, I'm just gonna put it out here because people see, when people don't understand the real context, they go off on a tangent and they repeat stuff. So let me just finish, babe. For making a comment that was not racist in nature in any way, shape, or form, and they immediately, after 2 weeks, reinstated my account. But this lady is on here talking about this as if that gives her some credibility to try to castigate me personally. And my thing is, stay off the ad hominem. Let's talk about the issue, okay? Because that is the paradigm we've entered into with Trumpism, is that if we can't deal with you on the issues, we make personal attacks, or we call the facts and figures and opinions you put out there fake to dismiss them. And then she caps it off. And this is what really gets me. She caps it off and says, I've never had a bad interaction with the Springfield Police Department. And I thank them for taking all of the criminals and the drug dealers off of the streets. Listen, Karen, we don't expect for you to have a bad interaction with the Springfield Police Department. I don't even know if you live in Springfield or Long Meadow or somewhere else. Because most of the white folk who work in Springfield don't live in Springfield. And I don't expect for you to be a older white woman to have a problem with the Springfield Police Department. I mean, look in the mirror, Karen. You can see why you don't have a problem.
I bet she would change her tune if she had some black grandkids, though. I bet you she would change her tune.
You know, but she thought that because, and this is the I'm white and I say so mentality. Because I haven't had a problem with the police department. Ain't nothing wrong with the police department. There must be something wrong with you black and brown people who are having problems with them, because if there was a problem with them, I would be having problems too, because if it's not part of my white experience, it really don't matter.
But babe, isn't that also like totally dismissive of the Department of Justice report?
Well, she was trying to discredit that the whole time, basically.
Yeah. That's what I mean, though.
But here's the other thing about
white supremacy, like you said in your message on yesterday, liberation theology it's not just important for those of us who are being oppressed to be liberated, you know, mentally and intellectually and certainly spiritually in all of those ways, but it's extremely important for the oppressor to be liberated. And the only way that they can be liberated, or anybody can be liberated, is by acknowledging the truth. You cannot take what is factual information. They are completely objective. They came in, they conducted an investigation, and this is what they found. But because you don't want to, and because you are white and privileged, you feel like you can dismiss the facts and, like you say, turn the narrative in such a way to where, you know, it's more palatable for you to accept, and then you spew it back out. You spew those lies back out to the public, you know, and try to convince them that that's what's happening and that's what's going on.
Now here's the flip. Here's the flip side, though. The flip side to that is this. It is the fact that as long as black people, okay, as long as the NAACP was coming to the administration and telling them that out of all the complaints that we get from our residents, 90% of those complaints are police-related complaints, that there's a problem in the police department. As long as we were saying the police are beating young black and Latino boys upside the head and abusing their authority, as long as we were saying there's a problem with the complaint process, as long as we were saying police officers are lying on their police reports or leaving information out of police reports, as long as residents were saying there's a problem with police, the administration was completely dismissive. They would simply ignore, dismiss, or deny.
Well, that's what happens.
That's rinse and repeat. Ignore, dismiss, and deny. But then they would come along and then they would prop up black faces and they would say, look, we've got Tony Pettaway over the violence prevention this. Look, we've got Helen Calton over health and human services. Look, we got Cephas Jackson and Gail Hill on the complaint review board. Look, I got a black chief of staff. And like that's supposed to somehow convince us that there's not a problem in the police department. And then what's insidious and what's insulting is as soon as white investigators, because I met them all, they came to my office several times. We brought them before the NAACP to meet with people in the community and get their testimonies. As soon as white DOJ investigators completed their report and they said, oh, there's a problem with you all using excessive force. There's a problem with police brutality. There's a problem with you going upside black and brown people's head. There's a problem with you lying on police reports. Then they want to have a press conference and say, we're going to work on these things. But as long as the NAACP and black and brown people were saying this is a problem, you denied, you dismissed, and you pretended it didn't exist. And it's only when white people say you're guilty of treating black people this way, are you willing to do something about it?
Well, I don't know if they're so willing.
Well, at least you're willing to pretend that you're going to do something about it.
Right. But that's white privilege, and that's white supremacy, and that's, well, that it certainly incorporates white nationalism as well. I mean, that's the mentality, that's the mindset. White ice is colder. So what white people say has more value. Why we say that Black lives matter too. Black lives matter.
It's crazy. It's kind of like it's like when we've had Tim Wise at our church quite a few times, and Tim said before, what kills him is the fact that there are black people who are in those spaces talking about social justice issues,
right, that
have done the research, who better articulate the issues, and do it from a perspective of having experience that white folks will not listen to. But then they'll listen to him say the exact same thing.
He said black folks too. He said black folks
same things just because he's white. And we've experienced that right here, because every time we bring Tim, our church is packed out with standing room only, and all of the white people come out. Oh, they start calling. They want to come. They want to partner with us.
They want to partner with us.
They want to partner with us. They want to hijack and take the lecture away from Spring of Hope.
Why don't you bring it here? In other words, it would be better than this little black church, in the black neighborhood.
We get professors who bring their classes from their colleges and all that to see Tim.
It's so true. It's so true. Tim. When you are here every day and they don't ever want to hear from you.
But then I bring black folk like Mike McBride or a Joe Madison or a Jawanza Kunjuku or a Sister Soldier or a myriad of other black folks that I have brought to the area. They don't bring their class to see them.
No, they do not.
But the white dude, let's get the whole class, and you can get
every once in a while you might see a little bit of salt in the audience. That might come.
There are some who come. I'm not saying no white people.
But it don't be like
we don't get that participation.
No, we don't. And these are stellar people. These are world-renowned, nationally known people that have shows and have done incredible things, or whatever. But
I'm bringing Pulitzer Prize winners like Karen Hunter and stuff like that, and y'all ain't rolling out like y'all do when the white dude comes.
Not at all. But listen, babe, I got to do something before you end your show today.
All right, go ahead and do it, because I'm getting ready to get off, and I guess I'm gonna go to Route 66 or something, since I can't go upstairs and get no breakfast.
No, it's not to shift the discussion, because I think this is really important.
See you ignoring what I just said, though.
It's not to shift the discussion, but I think it's really important that I chime in with this point too.
But also about my breakfast.
Yeah, I'm acting like I'm pretending like I don't hear you.
Okay, all right.
Unless you want to take me to Route 66 with you.
She's pretending like she don't hear me, y'all. Bam. Go ahead.
So, but anyway, I think it's also important that we talk about what's on the ballot, because what we're finding out about voting is that a lot of people are encouraged to go and vote, and to go and vote, say for instance, against or vote for Biden against Trump. But they don't, a lot of people don't necessarily understand that it's other offices and positions that people are running for, and it's really important how you vote. It's really important how you vote, especially when it comes to maintaining the House of Representatives. Certainly, pushing to flip the Senate, and and then of course, locally, which are state representatives. I don't, I'm kind of speaking broad language because I don't know what's going on in other places, but whatever, just down the line, which is state reps all the way up to your U.S. senators. Now here, our U.S. senator is running. He has a Republican opponent in the general election, and then we have some state representatives that are also still have some opponents in the national or general election as well. So it's really important that you investigate, learn about those positions. I think we even are voting for our registry of probate. And we've heard from a candidate already, at least at the WIN rally. We've heard from a candidate. And then the other thing is that is really important, and I just found out just how important it is the questions that's on the ballot. So it's different everywhere, but here in Massachusetts is particularly interesting to me because it's two questions. One pertains to information, how information is gathered through your car, the computers, the computers in your car, and whether or not I believe, I can't get into that, but that's question one. But question two is more interesting to me because it's about changing our current voting system to a rank voting system. So it's concerning changing our current voting system to a rank voting system. And so I've heard a debate this past Saturday that was put on by We the People. So I got more information about the two, but nevertheless, it's still kind of convoluted. It's a little bit complex to understand, both sides of the argument, and, because somebody stands to lose something, whether it's the dealership, the consumer, or whatever, or the voters versus the people that are running for office, or whatever the case may be. So it's always like 2, 3, 4, 5 sides, to an argument or a debate. So it's really interesting.
So let's do this.
I do know though that I just wanted to say this before you say something. I do know though that I forget the name of the organization. I don't know if Zeta's listening, but they are planning to do another forum discussing just the questions. And then
that's what I was going to suggest, that maybe the next time the next time we come on, we at least do a brief synopsis of the questions so that those out here know what the important questions are that are on the ballot.
Yeah, we need to bring somebody on that can really give us some layman's terms that's not necessarily on one side or the other, but definitely can explain to us what it means. Because let me tell you, when and maybe I need to be very transparent, it was 2 white guys that was explaining the rank voting system. And I had to be very frank and blunt about the fact I'm a black woman. I'm a black woman that is consistent about voting. I voted every single election, and I feel the suppression of my vote. So, you mean to tell me that you instead of getting this system right, now you're talking about changing it to something else a little bit more complicated to even understand when I'm already under the umbrella of suppression as it is. So I need for somebody to be, I need for us to find people that are objective, not necessarily on one side or the other, but can definitely explain to us the pros and cons of both questions.
All right. All right, I gotta move on out the way, y'all. Always a pleasure being with you, my extended audience, every Monday. I've been slacking on kind of doing my follow-up stuff that I had promised you all, but we're gonna figure it out. It's been a busy time, busy season. I want to remind you, the NAACP General Membership Meeting for those members that are out there is tomorrow at 6 p.m. Via Zoom. The digital town hall on police reform is going to be Thursday at 7 p.m. We want you to be a part of that. Always remember our Wednesday night virtual Bible study, our Sunday morning worship experience at 11 o'clock a.m. And we stream live at that time as well. Check us out on all our pages, Spring of Hope Church of God in Christ, Greater Springfield NAACP, for all of the information that you need. Remember, vote coming up, early voting October 17th. Remember, census, fill out your census, all of that good stuff, everything that we brought to you. Put a pin in it, keep it in mind. Go ahead.
Tell the people thank you for the forum. The forum was excellent. The forum was excellent Thursday.
Absolutely. Want to appreciate you all for all your participation in the forums and the things that we've been bringing forth, trying to educate the community on what's happening. Say goodbye.
Okay, this has been another production of Beauty and the Beast.
All right. Don't be so hard on yourself. I keep telling you that. It's gonna be all right. All is gonna be
Y'all know who Beauty is. Y'all know who Beauty is.
If I'm a beast, it's because I'm a beast against white supremacy and racism and anti-black bigotry, and I'm a beast for promoting the betterment of my community.
It's because of the time. That's right. I'm a beauty.
All right. I'm out of here, y'all. Until the next time I talk to you and you talk to me, always remember God loves you, and so do I.